Alrighty. Merry Christmas. It's December 1st. We're in this bitch. When December comes, I bet you want to celebrate the holidays because fuck everyone who says wait. Even though this is now like an acceptable time for everyone to start celebrating. Yeah, everyone thinks that like everyone has an opinion about this. When is the beginning of Christmas? In my opinion, it really doesn't fucking matter. Celebrate whenever you want because why deprive yourself of happiness when the holidays bring you joy? If that's what brings you joy, celebrate. Because I remember one year, I was obsessed with the Ariana Grande Christmas and Chill EP in high school. And all I wanted was to listen to it. And I was driving to work and it was like not even Thanksgiving yet. And I really wanted to listen to this Christmas and Chill EP. But I was trying to not because I was like, it's too soon. I can't do that yet. Like, it hasn't even been Thanksgiving yet. I'm like, I need to follow this stupid rule that someone made up at some point. And I was just like, you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, school's hard. Work is hard. Life is not super easy right now. And this brings me joy. I love Christmas. I love the holidays. And I love Thanksgiving. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like Thanksgiving isn't a vibe beyond the day. Like, you meet with family. You eat good food. That's amazing. That's a great day. But, like, the best part about Christmas is like the weeks leading up to it, the months leading up to it even, where you get to like smell amazing candles, sit next to a lit up Christmas tree, wear your pajamas, and be festive as fuck. That is the point and amazing thing about Christmas. And it's really hard to not give into that happy holiday spirit. So like, yeah. Anyway, with that, let me introduce myself. My name is Lolo Azulo, and this is my fake podcast. I don't know what it's going to be called. Probably something like chit chat, chatting with Lolo. That's fucking stupid. I don't know what it should be because, you know, this is such a whim. I had no, I didn't think when I started my day today, I was like, I'm going to sit down and like make a podcast. I'm not even making a podcast. I'm not going to put this on Spotify. I am just going to post it to YouTube and maybe some clips to TikTok. That is the extent of what this is going to be right here, right now. But I was just really in the mood to create some form of like long form content. And I'm like kind of tired of like TikTok right now. Like I'm still very inspired and I want to post TikToks, but like I want to really like create, you know, like I make music all the time, but I can't share it right away because I need to be smart about my music because music is like one of those, you know, precious things that like it's like a baby and it's like you want it to be fully grown before you debut it to the world. I get that. But this, like, I really just want to throw some shit out there, you know, like I want stuff. I want a digital footprint. I want a bigger digital footprint than what I have. Because my digital footprint right now is like kind of just my TikTok and Instagram, and that's bullshit. That's nothing. So let's get some more of me. Because that's what the world needs. The world needs more Lolo. Because there's not enough. There's not enough of me out there. So yeah, I don't know what to call this. If you have ideas, please actually let me know. If you're a friend of mine, if you just fucking fell upon me and you're like, you have a thought on the vibe. I don't know. I just created this corner. So I was like, this seems like a good spot to just sit and talk about nothing. So here we are. So a little bit about me. I am a singer-songwriter, and I love to perform. I started posting a lot more like singing on TikTok, even if it's stupid singing, like, oh my god, I did the stupidest thing yesterday and I'm trying really hard to not be embarrassed by it and just own it because like I don't really regret it. I'm just like, I stopped thinking before I post, and this was like a I sang, you know, the No One Mourns the Wicked thing from the beginning, like Ariana Grande's like fucking high ass soprano part, and I was like, when I sang it, I was like, silly TikTok post. But listening to it back once after like someone commented, I was like, oh no, That's bad, but it's kind of funny. So I'm gonna like let it rock, I guess. Like, is it bad? I don't know. It's probably bad. But anyway, that's the type of shit that I post on TikTok because most of my piano covers, like I've already posted a little bit of, but I've gotten so much better at them, but I don't want to keep like posting the same thing over and over and over again. But any whoosies, that's where I'm at with that. I also gotta be careful making a podcast type thing because I talk so much about nothing and I go into specifics about absolutely nothing. So I get lost a lot when I'm talking to just myself, which, I do all the time. So welcome to my brain. But yeah, I was just telling you a little bit about myself, right? Like we're still on the first page of this book. I'm currently living in my parents' house, which is a beautiful, beautiful house. Well, it's not a beautiful house. It's a beautiful, beautiful life. It's an okay house. It's a house. It's a home. It's the home I grew up in. It's the home I know. I love my parents. So that's fine. Yeah, this is a temporary move. It always is. I move around a lot. I'm hoping to stop moving around soon here. But let me walk you through some of my major moves in life then. This seems like a good place to start chit-chatting a little bit. So obviously college, like I was born and raised in this house. This was number one. That's what's up. And then I moved into this room in high school. I had a different room before. My cat wants me to open the door. I'll show you him and then I'll let him leave because he wants to leave. Oh, I also have a little jar of Christmas Hershey Kisses here. I'm a big fan of chocolate, big chocolate bitch. But yeah, I was walking you through my moves. So, born and raised in this house. And then college, I went to Williamsburg, Virginia. And where? You don't know where this house is. This house is in Virginia. I live in Virginia, close to D.C. And I went to school in Williamsburg, Virginia, which is like, if you know Colonial Williamsburg, dope. 4 years there, fucking amazing. Had a blast. I didn't study abroad. Instead, I worked in Disney World for a hot sec. I did the Disney College program in Orlando. I can talk more about that later, if you want me to. I don't really feel like it. I will cut to the chase. I personally did not have a great time. I think that is specific to me, and I think that it is because of certain factors that, again, I'm not going to get into, but I can. But yeah, I wasn't having a good time, and then COVID hit while I was there. So I moved to Orlando January 2020, and I was only there. I only did like 2 months of my program before COVID hits, and because I was having a bad time, I was checking the news every day, hoping that I would see Disney World closed before my boss would even like tell me, before like all of the college program participants were like, "Did you hear?" Because obviously they were whispers. Everyone was really scared for what was going to happen. I was the only person who like wanted Disney World to close. And then when we got the news, yeah, I'm not getting into it. That could be a story for another day. Like I said, I can go into specifics and then I can talk literally all night about like my thoughts on everything, things I've experienced, opinions I have. So I apologize if I like get a little too deep. Anyway, next, go back to school, or I guess I go back home. I come here. I experienced COVID here, and because I was in Disney World, I didn't have classes, so I wasn't even doing Zoom school. I just had like 3 months of like nothing. It was not good for my mental health. It was fun in a way, but it was bad. And then, yeah, life went on. Things got good again. And then I graduated school, and then I came home again for like the summer, and then I moved back to Florida, but this time I went to Fort Lauderdale. And while in Fort Lauderdale, I chose to be a yachty. So I've worked on yachts. I've been both a deckhand and a stewardess. My main gig that I did for 6 months, my longest job, was a deck slash stew. So if you know, you know. If you've seen Below Deck, you also kind of know. Like, I worked on a bit of a smaller boat. Like, it was 108 feet. Crew of 5, and then for like longer trips we'd hire a 6th, and then I'd be assigned like just one role, like either deckhand or stewardess. Mostly deckhand, that was my preferred role. If I were to go back, I'd be a stewardess, but I probably am never gonna go back. I felt a strong burning, like if I don't get out like soon, I'm gonna be stuck here. Because I saw a lot of people stuck there. A lot of the things I've done in life, I used to be a lifeguard, and you know, I guess people can get stuck doing just about anything. But when I see people get stuck doing something that I just can't imagine doing forever, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I even here now? Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I won't get into, but I could talk a long time about. Because it was quite the experience. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. I had very unhealthy habits, but that made for a great time. So, but that being said, like those unhealthy habits, like my mental health was really not peak. So, yeah, but then I came home and I had this intention of moving into a van. Like, that's why I like stopped. I was like, I'm going to take a break from yachting. I made a fuck ton of money, and now I'm just going to go do my own fucking thing. I don't know what. And then I came home and I had to do a lot of reflection about what I really wanted out of life, because I didn't want to get stuck doing something I didn't want to do. I had a degree in psychology and a minor in film and media studies. When I graduated from school, I had every intention of going into film. Like, I wanted to work in film and media. I still have an intention of doing that, and the work I do now kind of relates to that. But I've always loved singing, and I was in an a cappella group in college and all that stuff, so I decided to become a singer. And then I spent a year at home, and like a year and a couple months I was living in this room. And then I moved to New York, Brooklyn. It's New York, and I guess it is New York City, but like, it's not the city, you know, it's not Manhattan. That being said, I had no job. Like, I worked while I was home, but then when I moved to New York, I had quit my job. And so I had no job for 4 months, spending money in New York that I had saved. And I still had boat money, too, because that shit racked up. And then I moved to my parents and I wasn't spending. It was great. So I blew it all in New York. Not all of it. I blew a lot of it in New York. And I had a great time, got what I wanted out of it. I went to open mic nights like every night. I met a lot of people. I played a show. I had a great time. It was more just for the experience to like really see what it feels like to be there. I've always had like a desire to hang out there more, and I think it would have been more fun if I had a job or like was there for school or something. I enjoyed my time there, and it was only 4 months, but it got to a point where I was like, okay, I have to go and think about next steps, because like, I'm running out of money, A, and B, like, I'm not having like the best time here. Like, I know I'd rather be somewhere else. And it's getting cold. I don't like the cold. Here the cold's a little more tolerable because I like know it. I don't know why, but I won't get into that. So yeah, then that ended recently. That ended like a month ago, and now I'm home. And I think, are those all the places I've been? When I list them like that, for some reason it doesn't seem like a lot. But the yachting stuff, like, wasn't just Fort Lauderdale. Like, that took me all over. Like, not all over, but like all over Florida. I went all over Florida, the Bahamas, and Virgin Islands. Like, all over. And yeah, and I've traveled, like, I've taken vacations, I guess. But that's kind of the extent of it. Like, I don't know. Now I travel for work too. It just feels like I'm like moving around a lot in general. And I always have a next plan, a next step, a next place that I intend on going to. But yeah, Um, Next step is LA. If you know me, you know that I've talked about Southern California literally my entire life, and I just feel like it's correct for me. Every time I go to the West Coast, like anywhere on the West Coast, it just feels correct. Like I feel like it's so stupid. And maybe it's just because I grew up on East Coast time that I'm used to the East Coast time. So when I'm in the West Coast, it just feels like I have more time because like I still have like I have 3 more hours in my day than those fuckers on the East Coast do have. So maybe that's why it just feels better. But whenever I'm over there, it feels right. Like the time feels correct. And also the vibe, like the air feels lighter. And again, this might just be because I've been romanticizing it like quite literally my entire life. But, you know, the West Coast and the East Coast are like so far from each other. There's definitely a huge like cultural difference between each of them. So, I think I just mesh better with a West Coast personality. I think I just do, period. I think I don't know if I have the capacity to articulate why at this moment. But just being in New York, I don't know. I feel like if I had a different mentality or like went into it differently, like maybe I would have appreciated it for what it is, because I saw what it was. Like I saw like no one gives a shit. There's a fuck ton of people. Everyone's looking down, or like they're looking right through you. And then it's so easy to like get into that headspace. And then my energy is like constantly like vulnerable. Like I started wearing a baseball cap everywhere I went just so I could look at the ground, so I can't be perceived, so I can't perceive other people. Like the sheer amount of exposure at all times was like just too much for me. So yeah, but you want to say tangent, I'm allow it. I'm gonna let it happen because it's funny. So I like to dress up. I wear fun outfits. I try to get spicy with it and creative. That plus a baseball cap was like my go-to fit on my commute in New York, in the subway, walking, whatever. Everyone like, and I had my big hair and like my nice like cropped with my abs showing, which are not present, but that's because it's the holiday season and I don't have them all year round, but I did in the summertime. And you know, I looked like a stunner, and then I hid my face. The amount of people that actually looked like compared to when I don't wear that is like hilarious. Like because I was hiding myself, suddenly everyone was interested in my outer display. It was like, I swear to God, they thought I was famous. Like that's what the looks felt like. They like were like double taking and like looking a little deeper. And of course I loved it. Like what a fun little game. You who wouldn't love that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people wouldn't. Like, stop looking at me, bitch. Probably a lot of people in New York probably think like that. Anyway, that was funny. I forgot what I was talking about before. This is why I cannot allow tangents. Whatever, I don't care. I am 24 for another week. Oh my God, and then I'm 25. Oh, I'm gonna miss 24. I liked 24. 24 was pretty damn good to me. It felt real for the first time. It felt like I finally like saw the world for the first time. Like, and I was alive before then and smart and like enjoying life and thought critically and all that stuff. But like 24, like something just really clicked in my brain. Like I think it's whatever that fucking prefrontal cortex formed. I don't know. People say stuff like that. But there was like a couple of moments around like, I want to say July, August. Like, and that's for me like 7-8 months into being 24. I was like, ooh, this makes sense now. I think I get it. I think I understand. I think I get it. Yeah. I have 2 jobs, both with the same company. I book artists for like these little music festivals. But it's basically just a night of music, a show with like, it's like a showcase. It's like there's a different showcase in every city every night. And we have a videographer that we send out, and sometimes I am the videographer as well. So that's the travel that I do for my job sometimes, host and videographer. So I get the best of both worlds. I get my little film stuff and I get my little stage stuff. It's a great gig. But that's only like, I'm like the substitute. When the main guy can't go, I go. But my main gig is booking the artists. Like my official thing is event producer. So I like kind of do some research on local artists for the different cities that we need to book for, and then I send out an email, and then I book a call, and it's pretty cool. I really like what I do. I really like working in music, and I really like working. Like those 4 months in New York, I think part of the reason that they were really hard for me was because I didn't have a job. And I was putting way too much pressure on making music and like furthering my music career and like building my audience, and like I had all day to think about a show or like write music. Like the music that I wrote in New York was so shitty it doesn't even count. Like I can't, like I'm never gonna make that into a real song. Some elements of it were like redeemable, and I'm putting it into new songs that I'm making that I actually like. But it's like flowing out of me. It's crazy how I was like I was plugged up while I was in New York. Starving artist is such a redundant thing. Like you can be a starving artist. Like you can live off of your music even if it's breadcrumbs. Like that's a starving artist. But like I don't think that you can really like be an artist without having an income. Like, well, you can always be an artist whether or not you have an income. But like a starving artist, I don't know. It's really hard because you need money to make art. You need an income to invest in your creativeness. Like I was spending on rent and food and transit and all of that shit. And I wanted to invest in my music, but I like needed the bare necessities before anything else. And also like having this pressure to make music all day, every day, like my inspiration was like sucked out of me. I couldn't even think about how I was feeling. I was so out of body. Having a job like grounded me in my day and had a routine and less to think about. Ironically, having more to do, less to think about, rat race, whatever, I don't fucking care. I like having a job, and I like my job, and I like my free time, and I like that I can create in my free time, and I'm way more inspired in my free time. I'm way more motivated in my free time. I'm way more productive in my free time now. And I have money to invest in my free time now. I have money to invest in my arts and everything. Like I'm and I think that's that prefrontal cortex talking. I think that's the desire for dental benefits talking. That's another thing. People don't really talk about this until it's happening. I guess actually I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if people talk about this, but I didn't have this conversation until it started happening to me. You peak. Maybe, I don't know, in life you peak whenever. Everyone peaks at different times. Physically, objectively, factually, you peak at 22, 23, 21 to 23. That is when you are at your physical peak. It is downhill from there. And it's a steady downhill. It's not like right away you're going to be like fucked and wrinkles all over the place. But like you start to notice a difference. At least I do. When I was 22, like I could do anything and still be hot. Like I could stay out all night, drink like shit, eat like shit, not do my skincare, rot in bed all day, roll out of bed, spend maybe 30 minutes on my hair and makeup, and be sexy, be hot, be like, I don't know if it was just confidence. But looking at pictures, I was like, how did I look like that? I did not take care of myself when I was that age. Like, both in, like, the end of college in Fort Lauderdale, like, I was having a lot of fun, but I was not taking care of myself the way I should be. And maybe that's why I'm noticing the deteriorating, because I didn't take good care of myself. but I'm not deteriorating. I'm 24. I'm almost 25. But there's a difference. There's a difference, like, just in how fast my acne heals. Like, I've always had acne, and I have, like, I'm a kind of obsessed with picking. That's why I think it's genius that I'm starting this right now, because I have so much to talk about. I overthink everything, like everything. I have thought of so many different perspectives and ways of thinking about things, and I have thought about just about everything deeply. I have thought about and it's bad. It's to a detrimental point. But that being said, like, I got some knowledge to spit. I have insights and perspectives. I have played devil's advocate for myself so much. Digressing on that again. I have a lot to say about picking. Fact is, bottom line, I do it. I try to not. But I still do it. And I do it less than I used to, at least. But that being said, like, my skin heals slower than it used to. That's why I started talking about this. I used to, like, pick, and then, like, if I go, like, 3 days without picking, my skin was glowing. Like, I'm fine. I was, like, regenerating so fast. But now, like, if I pick and hit a pimple hard, like, it takes, like, a week and a half for that mark to go away. And I know that that's such a small difference, but it's, like, you know, having this, like, chronic desire to pick, like, going 3 days without picking and then seeing clear skin, that's very motivating. Having the desire to pick, going a week and a half without picking, like, that's harder to do for me. Like, it would have to be, like, a perfect week and a half for me to, like stress-wise and, like, hormonal-wise and, like, life-wise, like, activity-wise. Like, the stars need to align, and my discipline needs to be at an all-time high if I'm going to go a week and a half without picking. That being said, my skin's fine. Like, I'm still pretty. I still think I'm a pretty person, but I'm not 22 anymore. I'm 25. And there's just a small difference, but there's a difference. Anyway, I feel like I should stop talking there, because as I've said, I can talk forever. So I think I'm going to stop for now. But I'm really, really excited to upload this and start, like, posting long form media for, like, the first time, really. Like, I've posted videos before, but, like, nothing really stuck. I'm not saying it's going to stick this time, but, like, I'm pretty consistent with posting on TikTok, and I'm just getting a little tired of that, like, for several reasons. Like, A, it's not enough for me. Like, I want to post more. And I want what I post to be deeper, to feel more connected to me. And I want to be more connected to you. Like, the audience that TikTok draws in is so suspicious. Like, it is mostly, like, respect, I guess. Not really. Freaky men. It's freaky, creepy men. And I don't want that. I don't want just that. Like, I make music. I want to build an audience of people, like-minded people, who can relate and appreciate my art that I'm, like, really, really eager to share. I have so much I want to share. And I want to share it with people who want to fucking hear it. Not with creeps who, like, just see a pretty face on TikTok. And I'm giving myself a lot of credit here, because I'm not even close to the prettiest face on TikTok. But you know what I mean? Like, creepy guys don't care. And that's most of my, like, strange extended audience. Like, whenever a TikTok, like, relatively blows up, it is always, like, a sexy dance. And it's always men who like it. Men can still appreciate what I do, but we all know why they're liking it, why it's blowing up. Like, I don't need that anymore. So, that being said, thank you for listening. I wish I should like I don't know how to get a podcast on Spotify. It is so low on my priorities list right now to figure that out. But I'm really excited to be doing this. It really just like I got struck like across the head, smacked, if you will, with this inspiration just because I wanted to sit and talk to you. And I was like, you know what? I'll plug in a microphone. And I was like, oh, this is what people with podcasts do. It's not a podcast. It's just a video, but it's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, if you're watching and you know, like what you hear, like I'm posting to the abyss, by the way. So if you find me and like you like me, like let me know, please. Like tell me that you like it, because like I have no idea who sees what I post. Like I want people to see it, obviously. So yeah, leave a comment. Tell me what I should make. Tell me what I should post. Tell me something that resonated with you. Tell me something that was stupid as fuck that I said. Tell me something that's wrong with me. Tell me something that's wrong with me. Because there's quite a few things. I'm not going to be hurt by what you say because, like I said, I think all the time about what's wrong with me. And I know what is and what isn't. Like, I know myself. I'm old enough to, like, not be affected by what other people say really like that. But I'm curious. Like, what do you see when you look at me? But anyway, thank you for listening. Had a great time. Merry Christmas. I would say I love you, but like you haven't really proven yourself to me yet. So I'll tell you I love you next time when you're there. When I know you're there. I need to know that you're there. You need to tell me that you're there. You need to let me know that you're here. Because like I said, otherwise I'm in the abyss. And I'm not going to tell you I love you until you're there. But I will say thank you. Thanks. Bye.